testimony of God bringing me out, man, to get to where I am, man. So, listen, I'm just excited for God to be doing what He's doing, man, and I'm glad to be a part of what you're doing.
Word. All right. I messed up. It's supposed to go live automatically, but I'm recording the audio too.
Oh no, you
I know
good,
that.
man.
No, so it worked out because I'm it's gonna be on the podcast, so that worked out. All right, guys. So for those who didn't who missed out on that first part because I didn't hit the right button, please forgive me. But yeah, again, guys, this is gonna be my third podcast. It's gonna be entitled "My Brother's Keeper," and Apostle McIntyre. He's like a vitally important person in my life, man. He was just sharing a little bit about who he is, and if you guys missed that part, wait a minute, y'all already like, hey, my fault. I hit the wrong one. Look at it.
As we live now, man. I'll do a watch party
hit the wrong
to
button.
your live, right?
Say it.
I said, I guess I'll do a watch party to your live, or are they actually coming on to your live? They good? I'm trying to invite people.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do a watch party as well. That'll work. So I got it set up to where like we can look at their comments on with the stream with the stream thing. So yeah. So but okay. Oh man, my brother's keeper. The reason why I thought about that, I thought about like myself. I thought about my friends, and I'm thinking about how people. Okay, I'll just go ahead and say it. From a. Okay, I knew that was going to happen. So from I want to talk about this in two different perspectives. So men in general, I'll say it like that. Men in general, we already have strikes, but as black men, yeah, I'll just say it like that. As black men, we have like a bunch of strikes against us, and then we have some people that live up to negative stereotypes, and then we have like, of course, we have those that like they used to live up to those negative stereotypes. Now they're doing something entirely different, and then you got those guys that never did anything as far as negative stereotypes are concerned, but we're being lumped into one thing. So the reason why I'm calling my brother's keeper is because I feel as though we really need to be looking out for one another more than we aren't, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. I think the thing is, men, is we can be lone rangers, and because we're lone rangers, and we've tricked ourselves to feel like we can't communicate. We end up doing it by ourselves. So we don't. Well, to be honest, it's hard to be responsible for somebody else when you're trying to be responsible for yourself.
Wow. So. Hold on, rewind. That last piece, no, because that was good. We call it basically we're being a long ranger, but then we find ourselves being responsible for other people in the same breath.
Yeah, because what happens is, man, is it becomes at some point. What we'll do is we will help somebody, or we'll go to be a brother's keeper. But here's something is. Like, how do I be a brother's keeper, right? If I've never been a brother before, right? So it's really hard. And so what I end up doing is I end up doing my best to help you become, but I don't know who but I'm still kind of struggling with my own identity. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. And I think that one of the best places of helping a brother be accountable is one of the best places to help a brother be accountable is when I'm accountable for myself.
Okay, I agree with that. We that's something I taught. I forgot when I talked about that. Oh, so my cousin, she said something about that, and I thought it was interesting because maybe I can try to find that post. It was maybe like a month or so back, so never mind. But she had said men want to lead until some men don't want to be accountable. So then my one of my questions is, well, why would you pick somebody that's not accountable, right?
Okay.
That's one thing.
Okay.
If we had to be accountable for ourselves, why would somebody else like choose you knowing that you're not really accountable for it about anything? Why would you even put that person in that position? It was a couple other things a couple of other questions that I posed. But even with that, you said the first thing is being accountable. So I think we know the answer, but for those who aren't listening, I mean, those who aren't in the faith or whatnot, or even whether they're in the faith or not, like who should we be accountable to initially when we say, okay, so accountable to myself, but how does that look? Because we know that we can think what we think is right, and it could be 1,000% wrong. So
Well,
how does that look?
Accountability is about having a right moral compass. So morals and culture play a major part in what I'm accountable to. So it's really knowing those factors. So for me, man, accountability says that I don't have pride. Because I think that the reason why a lot of people aren't accountable is because of pride. I believe pride is a blocker for accountability, because here's what I can do. I can keep on doing the same thing, right? And not getting any kind of different results. I know we call that insanity, right?
Froze.
But here's what
Apostle, you froze. So I knew you said something good right there. You froze.
So we can. So what happened is like accountability to me, right? I can do the same thing and not get a different result, right? And so we call that insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, right? But at some point, I make myself accountable for my action. So if I know that I'm doing wrong, I make myself accountable that I am. But the greatest sign of accountability is a changed action. Accountability is not just in recognizing that you're wrong. Accountability is about changing the action that I've just now identified.
Wow. Yeah, because it's just like like when somebody says, "Oh, I'm sorry," and it's like, okay, you apologize. So what are you gonna do after that? Are you gonna just continuously do the same thing, or are you gonna do something different? So yeah, the same thing applies with that. Emmanuel, he said, or how do I keep talking about Black brotherhood? So yeah,
He said, how do I keep others when no one kept me? Man, all right.
Yeah.
It's like I want to answer it, but like, well, it don't matter. Like, people just gonna have to be able to handle the answer. Okay, like, because the dopest thing is some of us get to become what we never had, and so if we focus on the lack, then we'll never be able to establish or become. And I firmly believe that there are some of us that will get to be what we did not have.
Right.
Because here's some truth. There are some great fathers that never had a father. There are some great brothers that never had a brother. Or you can look at it all the way down the line. But again, it's also about, I don't know, I don't want to veer out of the accountability piece where we are, but we also have to remember it's also about healing. Because if it's hard to be something to somebody when you're broken about what you didn't have.
Facts. And I mean, the other thing is, how should I say this? There's people that we can look up to that we've never ever been in their presence before. Like they don't even we exist, right? You have people. Okay, I don't know what happened. You have people. Hold on, wait one moment. Actually, I'm gonna let you talk, but what I was saying is you have some people where, like, say for example, you got hip hop. You got people that listen to these people, listen to what these people are saying, and they have never been in that person's life, but they are so impactful, right? I will argue that the same thing can happen, let me keep my headphones on. I can argue that the same thing can transpire and happen even if you haven't been in the presence of somebody like that. But if you hear their words or they're saying something encouraging and it impacts you, I think that's possible as well. That's just a thought.
No, I think it's very much so, and I believe it can be that way. There are some things that are going to be taught, and there are some things that are going to be caught. And so I believe that some of us have been raised, or possibly were raised with a father, saw a father, whatever the case may be, right? And so we were taught some things. But there are some of us that had a lack or an absence, and you caught some things. So for me, I believe it's all on the person, where they are, the maturity of who they are, that dictates what they're going to be able to accomplish and what they're going to be able to do. Because again, like I said, I think that sometimes what we've done. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Y'all make sure y'all hit share. I believe that what's happening with a lot of us, if we're going to deal with us as men and we're going to stay in that vein, I think that absence became the blame game. That when you have the absence of a mother, absence of a father, I get there are some things you miss, but there are some things that are provided, and there are some things that you end up finding out about yourself that you can do, and that lack cannot take away from you. And so that's when I say, so when we were talking about accountability is the absence of blame.
Hold on. Say it again. You said when we were talking about accountability.
I said, so basically when we were talking about accountability, that's the other part of accountability is the absence of blame.
Accountability is the absence of blame. So what do you mean by accountability is the absence of blame? Basically, are you saying that we can't make excuses for something, right?
Yeah. So what I'm saying
like,
is,
I did this because my dad isn't there, or I did this because I didn't have this in my life. It's like, okay, yeah. And I agree with that 1,000%. It's like, how long are we going to continue to use excuses to make bad decisions or bad choices, or just live however we want to live? How long can we continue to use that as a scapegoat?
Because what that does is it creates a climate, it creates an atmosphere that I begin to live in. So if I'm playing the blame game and I haven't been able to make sense of things, which is basically find out to be accountability. If I haven't made myself, here's the thing. Now, there are some stuff you can't say it's my fault I didn't have a father, right? So you can't say that, right? So, but here's the thing. That doesn't mean I have to look at my mom or look at a mother like you the issue because I didn't have a daddy. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is when I come into accountability, it's like, okay, I did not have that, but I can still do X, Y, and Z because I have the ability to do that. But if I begin to look at lack and then I make it lack, and then what I'll do is I'll make lack an atmosphere. I make lack a climate. And so I'm living in the climate of lack. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to blame everything. I'm going to place everything on this so then I can act accordingly. So now I begin to do, so now I build a culture of lack. So everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm trying to get to and all of the stuff, it ends up being how I'm living. I'm actually living out of an atmosphere that I created.
Oh, okay. So this is going to be interesting because it goes back to, this is going to deal with the blanket statements.
Okay.
There's a lot of us like that. You know what I'm saying? And I guess how do I want to ask this? There's a certain way I want to ask this. It's like, how if that's the case, if we're having this culture as far as like playing the blame game and using it as an scapegoat, how much does that actually really happen, do you think, as far as with men are concerned? Because it's like, the way it sounds, it seems like in some aspect we can all do that, and then it just affects whoever we're around, and that's really that's scary. That's scary.
Well, for me, man, and I don't want to misquote anything, and I don't want to, I don't want to Bible this thing up. I know that you have a multitude of, I know you have all kinds of listeners, so I don't want to Bible this thing up. But like and I've taught you this, we've talked about this before. Like people have a skewed view of what Adam said. All right, because I'm going to go there. People have a skewed view of what Adam says when they were found messed up. When he says, "Lord, it was the woman that you gave me." Literally at that moment, he's not blaming her.
Hey, Apostle. Soon, I don't know what's going on. We're gonna have to pray, because as soon as you was about to say something good again, it froze. I bind that. I rebuke that in the name. For real, like that's just like second time. I'm like, nah, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know. So I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to Bible this thing up, but literally, he's not blaming Eve when he says, "Lord, it's the woman that you gave me." He's not blaming. He's not blaming. but he is recognizing the accountability between what he has. You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, here's some truth, because like I said, we talked. So it's like, hey, we were in this together. Like, so what I'm saying is like, he recognizes that they're together. Lord, you gave her to me, right? So when he said, so here's where I'm going, and this is why I'm saying that. So when he says that, here's what makes sense to me, is that that's not a blame, but here's what I am recognizing. Lord, I'm recognizing what was given to me. All right. So Lord, what I want to do is I want to acknowledge, because remember, when I do couples counseling, we talk about it, like, I want to acknowledge what you have given to me. Here's what happens when we begin to place blame. I lose the acknowledgement of what God has given to me. When I don't make myself accountable, and I'm not saying, because here's the thing, here's what I do. When Marcus McIntyre is accountable, I say, I messed up, or I did this, but here's what I realize in my perspective. I have the ability to do better, right? So I have the ability to do this. But I get that in accountability. You don't get that in blame.
Okay.
You get it. You get what I'm saying.
Wow.
So you don't get that in blame. So here's what happens: if Adam blames Eve in that moment, he doesn't get the continuance of what is to come. Accountability is the continuance of what is to come. That now I can rebound, I can be restored, I can do this, I can do whatever. But blame keeps me there. So when you're saying, how long have we been doing it? We've been doing it a long time. We play cards that keep us bound. We play cards that keep us locked up. We play cards, and so it's the blame. Now here's the thing: it's not that some stuff doesn't exist, but it's the heart posture you say stuff in. We could talk about slavery. We could talk about that stuff. Yeah. That stuff was real. That stuff was true. And but here's the thing: now in our later day, it's the heart posture you say stuff in. I could walk right now into a restaurant and they could be all out of food. And just because I'm black, I could just, whatever, and be like, oh, you just don't want to take me because I'm black, right? And so I could blame you, but
that's crazy.
You get what I'm saying? Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's so. Oh man, so because you said something, it was going to lead into something else. Okay, so far as us understanding our worth as men, that's what's going to segue into.
Oh Lord,
because but what it's a setup. It's a setup, Apostle. You know what I mean? We throwing each other layups, so or alley oops. So, it makes me think about, well, what is our worth as a man? Because you were saying that accountability will make us say, okay, I am capable of bouncing back. I am capable of making changes, right? I recognize I did something wrong here, or something transpired, or what's by here, but I am capable of making a better change. But you're saying with blame, that doesn't. It'll just say we just play our cards and be like, oh, well, it is what it is, and blah, blah, blah. So what if we don't understand our worth? And you know what's funny? It makes me think about referencing Adam again. We understood that Adam knew who he was. So he just kept going. He felt some type of way. He said what he said, but when God was like, man, you're gonna have to till this land, bro. He didn't like, well, I'm not the presence of God. I can't do anything anymore. I can't name animals. He kept working. And then in a roundabout way, it doesn't say in scripture, but obviously he taught his kids about God, about being in the presence of God. He taught them all these things. So he didn't just wallow in whatever was going on and blaming that. He took accountability for his actions. He said, you know what? I did make a choice. God told me to do this. I didn't do that. Now he's telling me to do X, Y, Z. Now I got to go forward with that. But I will argue and say it's because one, God spoke to him and he knew who he was, right? And I think that's the thing that's what I want to segue into now, as far as like us as men. How do we find out, understand our worth as men? This is something I said before in a couple of podcasts and Facebook Lives, is that I argue that you can't find your worth in your money. You can't find your worth as a man with your money. You can't find your worth as a man with social status. So you got financial status, social status, or as far as your sexual performance. But for some reason, this is like a worldwide thing. As men, we tend to think that that's what makes us a man. how much money we make for the most part, our social status, and how we perform sexually. Well, I will argue, at least here in the States, we think that, right? Back in the day, to my understanding, back in the day, it was like your work ethic.
Okay.
Or surely we started to see more of the latter three, right? So, but how do we figure out who we are as men without using these outside stimuli to dictate to us who we are as men?
Oh man, that's good, man. You know my view, man. So I mean, we can go
No, I'm
in.
here for it. No, it's all good because
I
mean, everybody needs to hear it.
So, all right.
Everybody needs to hear it.
So for me, if you're talking about establishing the value of man, so we're going to talk about establishing the value of man. Okay. Then that means I have to understand the value of the breath that was blown into me. Okay. Now, and I get everybody's not saved, but if I'm going to understand the value of me, of myself as a man, I have to one more time. I have to understand the value of the value of the breath that was blown into me. Okay. I'm established value because a king. Check this out. We want to go there. A king blew breath into me. So I'm valued, right? So I have to see myself as something. Like, so even when people say that he took from the dirt of the ground or the dust of the ground, right? When people say that, people sometimes don't even see value in dirt, right?
Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. There's a book I read years back. It was by Napoleon Hill. And then his other brother, he kind of like expounded on some things. And he talked. Oh, man. I would have like go to my closet right now and grab my notes because I took notes like this back in like 2014. Y'all bear with us for a sec. I'm going to edit this on the podcast, but y'all bear with me because I'm going to find this notebook real quick.
Man,
no, I'm serious. I'm about to go to my closet and go get it because when you said the value of dirt, all it made me think about instantly was that book, man. No, that's two different. Rich Man, Poor Man. I'm gonna find that book. It was by Napoleon Hill. And I remember I wrote the notes. No, I'm sorry, Apostle. Yeah, y'all bear with me for a second. I gotta get this. I gotta get it. Hold on. Because I wouldn't even expect to talk about that.
Listen, we about to go in. We're about to go in. You can't talk to me about man. I love the biblical study of man. I think I've studied Adam to his fullest. I've got some great revelation.
I got it. On that. I ain't playing. I am not playing. This is something from 2013, 2014 when I first moved here to Texas. This whole thing is filled. I need to actually go back and read it. But it was called Schemes, Plans, Thoughts, Ideas, Dreams, and Goals. This was a book I had when I first got here. And I was doing a lot of stuff with my life, trying to figure out life moving here to Texas. But the book I was reading, let me find it because I took a lot of notes when I was reading that.
So listen, if y'all are coming in and y'all are tuning in now, we're talking about the value of man. We're talking about the value of men finding their value.
Yeah. Oh Lord, because he referenced a bunch of stuff, but it was something that stuck out, and it was in reference to who we were as kind of like a human being, right? And the thing he was saying, oh Lord, help me find this. I wrote that. Napoleon Hill. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're getting close. But basically, he was saying, as far as like your worth as a human being, we're made of all these different elements.
Right.
All these different elements, like they actually have like monetary worth. Like different elements that we're made up of actually has monetary worth if they use it for something. It was really weird.
Well, that's why man has to know. This is why man has to understand how valuable and how versatile man is made. It wasn't just some kind of dust. We're looking at dust from a perspective now, or we're looking like dirt now, right? No. We have to remember how detailed God formed the world with. And this is the original man. So we have to realize the value and the versatility of the ground, because this was of the earth, right? So we have to realize that. And when a man can understand that what he used and the breath that was blown, then you can understand your true essence or the true value of you as a man. You get what I'm saying? So
yes, sir.
And so I believe that because we've let society tell us that we ain't nothing, or we become defined by people telling us who we are or who we're not, that people have allowed wrong things or wrong characteristics or whatever to dictate who they are not.
Hold on, say that again, because you froze. Repeat that one part again.
We have allowed people to really dictate to us who we are not. A lot of what people are saying are not the value of who we are. They're really giving us negative. It's a negative view on because again, that we have to understand again, God loved us enough to blow his breath into us and establish us. And so a man's true value to me, and this is me, maybe I'm too safe, but a man's value to me is how he understands his creator.
Right.
The more you
that makes sense.
The more you understand your creator, the more you understand your own value.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh man. Okay. So I found a notebook, right? So this is the part, and it's going to correlate with what you were saying. Because I remember writing this. Oh man, that's crazy. I haven't really looked at this notebook. So one point he says, the point I'm trying to make is that you are much more than meets the eye. You are immensely valuable as a human being. But you are unlike any human being who ever lived, ever will live. Despite your present conditions and circumstances, you are one of a kind. You are priceless. And that I need to go back and just look over these notes. But when I read that book, then it stuck out because he was writing from a perspective as a believer. He kind of like, hey, I am a believer, but I ain't gonna be preaching at y'all, but I want to let y'all know I am a believer. And so that spoke volumes, because it goes back to, if you understand and learn who your creator is, you'll just understand like, yo, this dude took all this time to create me. Before I was even placed into this shell, he had already created me. He knew me. He had plans for me. He had all these things. He placed all these gifts. And something that that you say a lot, Apostle, he's like, you're dope. You say that on you say at the end of it, to my understanding, you always say, hey, I just want to remind you guys that you are dope. And there's a lot of us, especially men, that feel as though we aren't dope, or we aren't good, or we aren't this and we aren't that, because we may compare ourselves to other people, or even far as the negative words that you had mentioned, like people have sown negative words into us for like forever and a day. So now we're like, okay, if somebody said you're a king, it's like, okay. It's like, it seems like there's a lot of deconditioning that we have to have, because I would say, because with that deconditioning, it plays a part in us examining ourselves and actually walking in accountability versus, you know what I'm saying, playing the blame game. So.
Oh man, man is valuable, man, and men have to get to the understanding to know how valuable they are. And I don't want to lessen anything, with the ladies or whatever the case may be, but there's even a place where men, man, okay, we're here. So listen, you put me on here. So
hey, Apostle, start all over.
All right.
Start all over. Because the last thing you said was, I don't want to dismiss the ladies.
All right. So here's the other thing about men finding out who they are. When men find out who they are, one of the things women are going to have to understand that watch this or they listen to your podcast is a man needs affirmation. So if we're going to talk about value, let's talk.
Rewind.
A man needs affirmation. I don't care what your man tells you. I don't care what it looks like. A man needs affirmation. Literally, when man is even when God spoke after he created everything, he went to say that it was good, right?
Right.
And so when you're dealing with Adam in the garden and he's creating, I want us to remember that the affirmation of what happened was the manifestation of what he called it.
Okay, say that again. Say that again.
The affirmation was the manifestation of what he called it. When God allows Adam to name the animals, the affirmation was the manifestation of what he called it.
Help me understand that. I'm like trying to like wrap my mind around it.
Because
like, wait a minute.
Think along the lines of this. You only affirm, watch this, what is good. It will manifest.
This man wrote?
Who?
Did you see what this man just wrote?
No, I got a watch party going on the other side. Who said what?
Oh, okay. This Lavelle Eagle said it puts an S on his chest. Validation does.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, because I wasn't trying. I'm not trying to be deep. But the reason why I wanted us to understand that is because watch this. When Adam is talking to God, because here's some of the greatest things that happens, right? And me and you've walked through this thing, right? So he's talking and he's communicating to God, right? And so it's through communication that you're gonna get affirmation,
right?
Because you're going and here's the thing: it's right communication. So let me not just put it all on the ladies, like ladies aren't affirming men. I do want to say this, that there also has to be a lot of communication that says you need to be affirmed. You cannot be prideful and have an ego to make it seem like you don't need to be told. But here's some truth. Again, watch what happens. That's a bird. Here comes the manifestation of a bird. If it was wrong, it would never been a bird.
Oh, snap.
That's a crocodile. Here comes the crocodile. If it was wrong, it would have never been a crocodile. God would never let something at that moment exist that should not be. The affirmation was the manifestation of it coming into existence.
Now I'm tracking. I'm like, boom.
You get what I'm
because. I'm sorry. Well,
no. You're good.
That's what. Something that I've said before was like I know my love language, and that's that's my love language. Like, yo, like you can tell me when I'm doing wrong all the time. Okay, cool. I'll fix that. I'll correct it. Now what? Are you gonna, I think some of us we deal with that. We're used to somebody always saying something negative. It's like, but when are you gonna say something good? When are you gonna acknowledge the good, not behind my back, not behind closed doors with other people? That's cute that you can praise me behind my back, but what about in front of me? Because that, you know what I'm saying? Because what you made me think about instantly, because you said whatever God names something or calls something, because God did it within himself. He did it with Adam. It's like if he called it this and it didn't work. I mean, it's a certain way you said it, but basically, if it was the wrong thing, it wouldn't exist. And all I thought was, well, let there be light. I'm like, man, what if he had said something else? Would there be light, or would nothing happen?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like Adam mimics God. So when Adam, because remember, God spoke and it was. Come on, listen. God spoke and it was. Adam had that same ability. Adam spoke and it was. That's a bird. It's a bird. But here's what I'm saying is that you have to realize is that God is in control still. Even though Adam has the ability, God is in control still. So the affirmation of what Adam says comes through them. God is not giving him a pat on the back. What he's doing is it manifests. You get what I'm saying?
Hold on, say that part again. You froze up.
I said, so God is not giving Adam a pat on the back because he called it that. He's not giving him a pat on the back every time, but the affirmation at that moment was the manifestation of it coming into existence. And so what I think that we don't talk about in relationships, especially with women, or they don't get, or here's what happens with men, is that we really don't get to the part of the manifestation of the affirmation, right?
Oh.
So we don't get to that part. We don't get to that particular place. And so when you're dealing with a relationship, you're talking about a man in value. There's something you said earlier that I want to jump in on, is that what we don't realize is how many men are feeling like they're not valuable because they're not getting affirmed. Because there are some men that are waiting to know that they're doing good, right?
Yeah.
Society says that all men are dogs, right?
Right.
And then we got the sisters and the ain't sisters, the sisters that ain't sisters, you know, all got bad men. Everybody has bad relationships. But what about the ones who need to be affirmed? So now they're finding value, or they're taking on, remember, they're taking on this thing, they're taking on this culture, they're taking on these characteristics. And I believe that that's one thing that men lack, is men lack affirmation. And so because men lack affirmation, I believe that those are some of the things that women end up getting a broken man, because this man doesn't know what it feels like to be built up already. You get what I'm saying?
Right. You know what's funny? A sister said this before. I want to try and really get into all this, but what she said was, a man's fragility is not my responsibility. And I was like, bro, what type of dude? Like, you saw it. And I was just like, huh, say again? You want me to say it again? She said, a man's fragility is not my responsibility. And I'm like, wait a minute, his heart trusts his wife. He's able to be vulnerable and trust her with his heart, right? Unless I'm missing something here. So I'm like, so as far as him being vulnerable, and I'm like, well, let's look at Samson. Samson has shown his vulnerability to the wrong person. But that's not her responsibility. His fragility, his vulnerability is not her responsibility. And I was like, bro, the Bible don't even say that. We're supposed to be loving one another. So I'm like lost, but people run with that because they're dealing with it, because they have dealt with hurt men. And what's actually sad, these hurt and broken men weren't affirmed correctly. Even if they have this big head or have an ego, they still weren't affirmed correctly, let alone corrected correctly, right?
Listen.
So I'm like, man. So I don't know. That when you said that, it made me think about that, because it's like, well, what if the person is just like, hey, I do want you to affirm me. I want you to appreciate the things that I'm doing good. If you appreciate it, it's gonna make me want to do it more. Why would I continue to like do? I'm sending you text messages. Good morning, beautiful. Because some women do that. Like, good morning, beautiful. I want a text message. There's a meme that said that, Apostle, where the dude is right next to her, and she wakes up, hits him, and she's like, "Where's my text message? Good morning." He's like, "Bro, I'm right next to you." But the thing is, like, do you appreciate those things? Are those things being taken for granted? And another thing I was gonna say was, there's an instance where some men are like, I am that type of dude. I am doing these things. I'm doing all these things the right way. And then you have some people say, well, what do you want? What do you want from us? You want us to say, good job, keep it up? Nah, that's what you're supposed to do. And it's like, what do we do?
I don't think nobody want my view on that. I don't, that whole fragility.
I want your view.
Thing,
I want your view. I want your view.
Man.
All the smoke.
Okay. All right. So it's all on what type of woman she is.
All the smoke.
Right? It's all on what type of woman she is. It's all on what type of woman she is. Because a rib protects the heart, right?
Oh, yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if
hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on, because I'm just looking at this like, it's like, hold up. So y'all got women's celebration day, Mother's Day, y'all take out Father's Day. Help us understand.
I just because here's the thing, okay, right? So I heard what she was saying, but I'm saying, like, if she's a real rib. Now, I'm talking about a real woman understands where she came from, right? And part of where she comes from is part of what protects her man, right? Now I'm only talking to a real woman. No, this ain't for playing house. I'm talking about real woman, because literally ribs are part of my protection as a man. That's part of what encloses me. So if she's a real rib, she is responsible. because she understands the responsibility of my safety. That's right. This woman understands not only the responsibility of my safety, but she guards part of what, that's right, my heart, because she's part of my rib. That's right. So I'm just saying, if she's a real woman, yeah, she's going to be responsible. She's going to be responsible for my fragility because she understands how fragile I am. Because if she's really a part of me when I don't have her, I'm missing something. I'm just saying. You get what I? So I'm just saying. I'm just, now people don't want me to talk. I told you, people don't want me to talk.
No, I want you to talk. That's what you're here for, Apostle. They ain't just gonna be like just saying some nice politically correct stuff. Nah.
But because every woman ain't a rib. Like you got some. No, every woman is a rib, but some people don't understand their identity yet. And so you can't take comments from a foot chick. You can't take comments from a foot chick about how to guard a heart, because a foot chick ain't never been near a heart to know how to guard it. And what I mean by a foot chick is because if you allow a man to stand on you, or if you ain't never been up in the place of a rib, then you're not going to be able to act accordingly.
Okay. Let's step off that for a second.
I'll be quiet.
No, because I felt I was like, oh God. Okay. So wow. That in itself is like, that's good, because now I think of David, and I think of David when I say David was a worshiper and a warrior in the same breath. So he knew how to fight, but he knew how to be vulnerable or naked before God. He knew how to operate in both manners. And I think in general, a foot chick, right? Boy, you feel a pulse, and the pulse is like delayed because you. Oh man, oh Jesus. Okay, but in reference to a husband, I'm sorry, I'm still no good right now. But because for me, you know what I'm saying, I can honestly say I'm one of those brothers where I'm like, yo, I'm actually a good dude. And I know like a handful of cats personally that fit that category, but then we're overshadowed by these dudes that aren't doing right. But what I want to say is I want to segue into the next thing. And I actually want to talk about our role as a husband is concerned.
Okay.
And please, y'all pray, because I don't know why it's freezing. Y'all pray. This don't happen. Now, I honestly believe it's because my apostle is on here preaching and giving us golden nuggets, and the enemy don't want y'all to catch. He don't want y'all to pick up what he's putting down. So y'all pray. No, but what I'm thinking is, far as like our role in the faith as brothers in the faith and as a husband, right? Something that you have said, and you have said a lot of things ever since I moved here to San Antonio and joined the Well. And even beforehand, you said things that resonated with me. So when I moved down here, I knew like this is where I'm supposed to be at. Right.
Keep going. I'm going to grab my charger real quick for this down.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what I was going to say, and when he gets back, something that especially at our worship, he said he's not going to let it's a certain way that he said it. Help me, Holy Spirit. It's a certain way that he said it, but he said he's not going to let it's like a spirit of neglect for the men. He said, I'm not going to let that spirit of neglect. I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, I'm not going to let the spirit of neglect for men destroy you. Right? He said, I want all the men to come up here. Right? He said, I want all the men to come up here. And he said, I want you guys to understand that the men are vitally important to the body. I don't want you guys to forget that. Right? And so for the most part, we've been wrestling within the faith. We've been wrestling with this machismo, this the matriarch and the patriarch type of vibe going on because of a lot of pride. It goes right back to pride. And essentially pride will separate us. Pride will destroy us. Pride will literally destroy us as a faith. So at one point in time, you had a lot of men doing stuff, telling women they can't do X, Y, Z, right? It was, Pastor. It was. Hey, real quick, shout out to Pastor Nicole. Yeah, she's amazing. Hey, hold on. Let me say something real quick in reference to affirmation, because Apostle, of course, you always affirm me, and I really appreciate you doing this. But she said something, and once she corrected me, it was an interesting correction the way she said it. But then she affirmed me in the same breath. So, ladies, it is possible to affirm a man. I'm gonna say that again, ladies. It is possible to affirm a man. You can do it. If you don't want to do it, that's a problem. I think that's a problem if you won't do it. Well, okay, all right, bro. No, but me, I'm gonna be transparent here. I wrestle with timidity, when it comes to me, when it comes to praise and worship, right? As far as leading things, I get nervous. Is this, that, this, and the third, and I mean, you said it before, Apostle. I've been like really. Plus, you've said a bunch of stuff just in general, right? As far as like worship, as far as leading is concerned. So all that coupled together, guys, I'm sorry. Get some people that really love and care about you and want to see you grow. All right. Especially this is I would argue and say when people say they want to be a power couple, this would be an example of a power couple, right? Because they both want to see, both individuals, both husband and wife want to see you grow, right? And they're going to pour into you, and they're going to correct you, and they're going to do it all in love, right? So anyways, she basically said, Gerard, you did a good job, but I need you to be more bold. I need you to be confident. I might have to pull up the text message because I don't remember it verbatim. But she basically said, hey, yo, stop being a punk. Stop being a punk when you know you don't. Right? But that's how she didn't say it like that. That's just how I interpreted it. Right? But Pastor, you didn't say it like that. You didn't say it like that verbatim. But basically, you was just like, don't let the enemy punk you. And I'm like, all right, yes, ma'am. You know what I mean? And I've been having I had a mindset to be like, all right, let me step forward, let me be more bold, right? Because even scripture says, don't look at the faces, right? We still have a job to do, right? So, anyways, that was that. That's all I wanted to say real quick. As far as like women, you can affirm a man. If some of y'all think y'all can't do it, okay, all right. Anyways, but far as men are concerned, so basically I was just referencing, I don't know if you heard it because you yeah, you're at the charger. So far as men in the faith, what and then segue into husbandry, right? But men in the faith in general, what is our role? Because it seems like a lot of things change. We hear some people say that it seems like it caters more to women now. Now, we know at one point in time in history, it catered more to men, and then it flipped. I'm like, but that was never supposed to be the case. It's supposed to cater to both people, and technically we're all supposed to cater as a man in the faith.
So you want me to talk?
Yes, sir. No, I'm done. Go ahead, sir. You got it.
No, I was laughing because I'm like, because you like, I laugh. I know we're all this live, and I know you're doing your podcast, but I don't think people really know how, and I don't want to say hard, but how I am about men, right? I don't think that people know I know my stuff, right? So when you ask me, so I'm like, oh, do people really you want to really expose people to this, right? Okay, so because in order for me to even, so you're talking about to segue into the husband, we're talking about a man of faith, one that I think that a lot of things we don't understand is when we talk about a man of faith, that means I have the breath of God.
Amen.
That means I have the breath of God. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That means he made me a living being, right? So that means I have the breath of God in me. So now on my way to marriage, I want to talk about on my way to being a husband, so we can get men to being a husband, right?
Okay.
So if that means the first thing that I have before I ever have a woman is I have the breath of God.
Hold on, say that again. If first thing before I ever have a I know, right?
Before I ever have a woman, I have the breath of God. That's order. He blew breath in, caused Adam to live.
Right.
My next thing as a man of faith is to be able to worship. Remember, we walked through this. The
Yeah.
garden,
Yeah. I
the
remember this.
garden is metaphorically a temple
Right.
where
Right.
Adam gets to walk in the, we talk about the cool of the day and all that, but here's the intimacy of it is Adam is tasked to worship.
Mm.
Before I get woman, I've got God, I've got the breath of God, and I've got intimacy, I've got worship.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I know that here's, oh man, I don't want to talk to women, but I know women are possibly on here because I know there ain't a lot of dudes on here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hey,
but
hold on real quick, Apostle. Ladies, if you guys are watching this, please share it so a brother can hear it. And when you share it, don't say, man, you need to listen. No, don't say it like that. Say, hey, this is something really dope for the fellas. This is something really good for the fellas. It's going to be encouraging and uplifting. Use your words, right? We as elementary teachers, they say that to the kids. Use your words. You're able. I'm sorry, real quick, Apostle, before you get into that.
You're
Ladies,
good.
I'm gonna say this real quick. Scripture talks about, and it talks about from a negative perspective, how an adulterous woman lips, her words drip like honey, right? That's from an adulterous woman. Now, what if a woman that's righteous? You know what I mean? Like, how that look? Like, you mean to tell me that an adulterous woman, a woman in the night, a woman that's in sin, can use her words a certain way to get a man to do what she wants him to do? But you in the faith, you that love God, you that have the Holy Spirit, you be sitting there speaking in tongues, prophesying, all this good stuff. You can't use your words a certain way.
Listen.
All right. So I said that to say, use your words. It says a soft answer turns away wrath, right? Use your words a certain way. If you want men to listen to it, share this video, share this live, and word it a certain way to where it's gonna make a man say, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna let her. I'm gonna check this out. Or this may be a challenge for some of y'all, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna say something a certain way in a light to where it's gonna make the man say, she ain't never talked like that before. You probably never talked like that before. So now he's gonna check it out. But you want this man to listen to it. Use your words. You can use your words. Use your words. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pastor. The last thing you were saying, as far as like,
you good.
The last thing you were saying was worship.
Worship. So the garden is metaphorically a temple. Like so he's got the breath of God. The breath of God is blown in a man. He gets to spend time with God. A man or a man of faith, you can only consider yourself a man of faith if you're spending time with God. Attending church services don't make you a man of God. All right.
Reading. Say it again. You said if you're
spending intimate time to know Him. This is worship. He ain't singing. He's worshiping God. He is communing with God. He has an intimate relationship with Him. And so I want to go back to the term you used, man of faith, right? So listen, you're not a man of faith just because you go to church on Sunday. And women, you think you're getting you a man of God because he goes to church on Sunday. And guess what? Just because he goes to church on Sunday doesn't make him a man of God. All right. All right. So the intimate time, and not only the intimate time, but after I am intimate with him and the application that comes with intimacy. There's application that comes with intimacy. If I'm a man of faith, not only am I communing and I'm intimate with him, there is an application portion that I now apply so that now you can see that I'm a man of God. It's not good enough for me to wear a man of God t-shirt. It's not good of me to get a title, man of God. It is good for people to see the application of the time that I'm spending, right? So that through those things, I get the stuff that we need. Communication, right? That's what we're talking about. So now, because I've been intimate with him, the true form of intimacy or the true form of worship that I've gotten in this experience is something called communication. So God has allowed me to communicate with him. So then when I go as a man of God to communicate, I see what I communicate.
You see what you can.
I can see what I communicate. Because I am the kind of man that God has given me the ability to call it and it manifests, right? So guess what? Right. But I
this happens all the time, y'all.
but I learned that in worship. I learned that in my time with him. I learned that with him. I spent time. So now when I go to communicate, I see what I communicate. That's a bird. Come on, Adam, that's you. Adam, you're right. That's a bird. All right, we're going to call it bird. That's a fish. Okay, we're going to call it fish. So literally, the thing that we say we can't do, man was created to do. We say that men have lack of communication, but we were created to communicate. So listen, this is if I know him. This is stuff that I learned if I know him. This is stuff that I get because through that, in the form of communication, I got vision. And I got vision in my intimate moment with him because what I now see, I call.
Right.
So I've got vision and communication. So again, we're talking about the makeup of a man of God. The breath, I've got the breath of God in me. I've got intimacy, and in my intimate moments with him, in my intimacy with him, I've got vision, and now I communicate what I see. And the reason why that's important, and I don't want to jump ahead, but the reason why that's important is because when I can communicate what I see, then that means I'm going to be able to discern what's not right. I've spent enough time with God to be able to discern what is not for me. I've spent enough time with God to know that, because the Bible says next that he searched through the beasts and the animals and he found nothing suitable. He found nothing suitable because he was able to discern that none of that stuff was for him.
Hold on, Apostle. Rewind back a little bit because it froze. You said the last thing you said is the Bible, and then it stopped, and then you went into suitable.
So he's able to discern what's not for him. It does not say that he slept with or tried, and that is the problem with us as men. The problem with us as men is that in our pursuit to get to the wife, the Bible says he searched through the beasts and the animals. And I'm not being crass or vulgar and calling women beasts or animals. But what I'm saying is the Bible says that he searched through. It did not say he slept with.
Right.
He did not have to sleep with everything that he saw in order to find out if they were suitable or not.
That part.
And the church is not exempt, because a lot of men of gold were sleeping through.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so that's why that's why the term man of God doesn't mean as much or carry the weight that it used to unless people can see the manifestation of their time with him.
Wow.
So he searched through the beast and the animals and he found nothing suitable.
Right. Yeah.
So then that's when you're talking about becoming a husband. These are all of the things, the man of God to the husband.
Yeah.
I'm a man of God. I should be a man of God first. Now that doesn't always happen, and sometimes it happens out of order. I get it, but I should be a man of God first. I should be a man of God, and the things that I learn as I'm becoming a man of God will help me to be a husband. It'll get me to being a husband because I have a great moral compass. I have principles. I have a standard. I have one more time. I have a standard. As a man, I don't settle.
Right.
Because I didn't settle. I didn't settle in my search.
Oh, say it again. You said you didn't settle. Then you said something else.
I said I did not settle in my search.
Oh. I'm sitting there examining myself right now. Like, how many times has that happened?
I did not settle in my. When you don't settle in your search, God will provide. He that finds, right? It said he that find, right?
Right.
We use that, right? He that find, right? So if it says he that find, right? Check this out. You have to have the discernment to know what you found. You only get that by the time you spent. One more time, we talk about man of God. You only get that by the time you spent. Because you gotta know that you found a good thing. You can't call it good unless you've been able to discern that. You got to know what that is. Right? And so, and so he does not sleep with what he searched through. He didn't do that. So literally, when God puts him to sleep, and so let's go back to everything that you said on this podcast. Let's go everything that you said on this live about men knowing their value, right? Because here's why a man has to know his value is because when a man knows his value, he knows the value of what God gives him.
Yeah.
Because what God doesn't pull something out of thin air to provide for him. God reaches inside of him to provide what he needs.
Ooh.
And so
Oh,
a man has to know his worth and his value because what's coming outside of you came from inside of you.
oh man.
So you have to know your worth. You have to have an understanding because the value of who you are is the value of who she is. She's so dope and she's so valuable that God still, now Adam doesn't, I said this before, Adam does not have a last name, right?
Hmm.
But Adam is a man, right?
Right.
And so when she is now on the side of him, they call her woman, which is another word for wombed man.
Uh-huh. Right. Right.
Look at the value. Check out the value. Let that sizzle in your spirit for a moment. Check out the value. How valuable is it? It's valuable enough that I see her, I see me in her.
Mm. Can you see it? Can you see yourself in her?
I
Can you see
I
yourself in
I
her?
see me in her. She's wombed man. I see me in her. My value, she's just as valuable as I am. I see me in her. She's wombed man. I see her in me. And so here's the thing. If I'm going to treat myself bad, that means I'm going to treat her bad.
You
I
know
know my
what?
value. I treat me
Yep.
good. I'm going to treat her good.
Yep. This is something, what's funny? I had posted this on my IG like earlier today, and I was saying something like that as far as like us learning our love languages. And I made the argument, this is like a couple years ago, and I made the argument that, what did I say? I said, how can I love you how can I love you if I don't even love myself? Right? I can't even love myself correctly to love you a certain way, right?
No, it's you like you spot on.
Right? And ourselves know each other, love each other, what I'm saying, love our own self first before we get into even render that, right? But I would say, like, if you understand your worth, then you understand who that person is and who they are to you or what they're not to you. So that all of that makes sense.
It,
All that makes sense.
it all matters, man, on both ends. We can talk about men, but when we talk about men, how we are as men, it affects what we're going to get as a woman. So that's how when you're talking about getting to that wife place or getting to be a husband, that's the thing. All of that right there and there matters because I know my place as a man. She knows
Mm-hmm.
her place as my wife. So if God reach inside of me and put her on the side of me, she know her place. She don't belong above me. She don't belong in front of me. She don't belong behind me. She belongs beside me. And I, as a
Right.
man, know that she belongs beside me.
Right.
So that means this is going to dictate how I am as a husband because I know my value. And so with me knowing my value, I've had vision before I got her. I've had all these things before I got her. So when she's
Okay.
now beside me, I'm able to provide the things that she needs because she is beside me. So she's not coming in. Now here's the thing: we're going to build something together, but I already built something before I got it.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I got a couple of questions, but you said something right there, and I'm like, okay, don't forget that. I'm going to get into that first, and then I'm going to get into the next question if I can remember it. So the first, and so when a woman is saying, "Where are we going?" Where are we? Where are we going? You know what I'm saying? Like when they saying, "Where are we going?" Like where do they think we're going to take them? What do they think that we're trying to do?
You know,
And or they really like, yo, can I understand like where are we going in the sense of like a relationship? Are we getting married? Okay, cool. I got that established. But then the question will still arise like, well, where are we going? And it's like, okay, what else do you want to know? You want to know my calling? I'm called to do this, or this is my purpose. Do you fit this? Is that what you want to know? Do you fit what I'm trying to do with my life? Or
now,
smoke, apostle?
all
I
right,
want all the smoke.
all right,
All the
so,
smoke.
all right. So, all right, check it, right? Um, a woman will always be frustrated with a man that has no vision.
Okay.
I'm gonna explain to answer your
Okay.
question, right? So she's craving or asking direction because it's our job as a man to provide it. because God couldn't give us a help meet and she not have something to help with. So she has to have the direction of where we're going or what's about to happen or what the future is to come, because she has to know her place and her fit. Now, this is for a woman that's going to walk beside a man. I can't speak for all women. This is for women that are going to walk beside a man. You get what I'm saying? Because here's what thing. If I'm going to let you see for me, check me, you hear me? If I'm going to let you see for me, then you got to tell me where we going. And I got to be secure. So listen, why don't you shout out? Because I'm letting you be my eyes, right? So why don't you shout out for me that we about to hit this right turn instead of snatching my arm when we get there? Oh, just because you the man don't mean you can't communicate with me.
Right.
So communicate with me that we about to hit this right turn. Communicate with me that this is going to. So I think a lot of that now, there's a difference between nagging and desiring direction. Okay. So I get the nag, but literally, if we really pay attention, a woman is designed to be guided, but to be helped. So what I'm saying is her being aside us is where she belongs. But a woman who is letting a man see, that's the thing. We don't really realize that. I mean, and I don't want to dive too much into submission, but a woman who is right there and is allowing a man to see on their behalf, that's called submission. And some of us men aren't hearing what they're saying because we're hearing with the wrong emotion.
Wow.
Because we're hearing from a place of insecurity, because there are a lot of men that don't know where we're going.
Wow.
So I'm frustrated that you asking me. Here's some truth. I'm really frustrated that you asking me a question that I can't answer.
What? What you mean?
That some of us don't know where we're going.
Okay.
Some of us get into relationships and have completely no idea of where we're going. When the women will ask us, "What's the vision for your life? What do you see yourself in 5 years?" And we can't answer. And guess what? We're frustrated now, because now it's like you calling me out and you asking me something I can't answer. What you want to know for? We just started dating. What you asking me for?
Yeah, I mean, but it happens. It happens a lot, and that's why I was saying, like, oh, is it based on like what we see other people are doing? So you're looking at me like, well, what are you doing? What are you trying to do? But the other thing is, what I was going to ask you, this correlates with this. What if you know what you're supposed to do, and they're just like, I don't see you doing that. I don't want to do that. Cause I'm being transparent. Like, I've dated a couple of chicks, and they kind of was like, okay, what this got to do with me? I'm like, okay, well, and it didn't work out. Yeah, like seriously, it literally didn't work out. Like, they saw what I was doing and was like, why are you doing this for? I tell them why I'm doing this, and it's kind of like, I still don't understand. I think you should be doing something else. And it's like, but I know what I'm called to do. Do you even have a clue what you're called to do? You know what? Whatever. And then that's no, for real. And then it's just like, that's it.
You good. No, you talking good. You good. I'm just saying, like, for me, like, when you arrive at that place where you found that woman, here, okay. Oh man, Jay, you keep putting me out here, dog.
All the smoke about. Hey, y'all type in the comments. All the smoke, all the smoke, Apostle.
All right. A real woman is not trying to control a man's future, nor is she trying to point him into what she feels that he should be doing. Here's what happens. All right. Now, when women are born incubators, basically. So whatever you say, they're going to incubate that until it manifests. They're going to always remind you that you said whatever. They're always going to whatever. They're born that way. But here's what you got to understand is when you get into so the question would be is when you arrive at a situation like that is, did you see her in your future? Right?
Oh.
Because I'll be honest with you. Straight up, my wife told me she didn't want to be a pastor's wife. That she didn't want because me, when me and my wife was dating, my wife met me at a different place in my ministry. My wife met me where I wasn't taking my ministry serious. So I was still smoking, I was drinking, I was out there, I was clubbing, I was doing all of that. and my wife didn't want to. So watch this. Because you remember you said like they were like, oh, what that got to do with me? So she was like, oh, that's you. What that got to do with me? But here's what's different. She never tried to dictate. Watch this. She never tried to dictate who I was to be. So with her never trying to dictate who I was to be, I got to hear God on my direction on where I'm supposed to go. When God pulled me, she belonged in my future. Guess who came with me? She did.
Hold on. Hey, Apostle, repeat that again because you froze when you said that.
Here's what happened. When God pulled me, she came too. Here's what I'm saying. Is that she said in the beginning that what she didn't want, right?
Yeah.
But here's what happened. I said, I saw her in my future. I knew she belonged with me. I knew that. I did not try to make her be something, nor did she try to make me be anything. But what I'm telling you is that when God called me out and he pulled me in, she came with me.
Wow.
So what I'm telling you is that when you are in the right space and you have the right person, they're not trying to create an image or a vision for you. You have people that are going to be beside you that men have to understand that when that woman has her place and she's on the side, then that means that's going to be her place. And it is not to dictate to you your life, your purpose. Your women should not be dictators. And I'm not saying silence the woman, but what I'm saying is that if the woman, hear me, is a woman, now here we go, woman of God. If the woman, right, is hearing God, then the woman is also praying that you realize who you are. She's praying that you realize that you come into these things so that she can support those things that God says, not what she says. But I'm talking grown woman stuff. This ain't for the hot girl summer. This is grown woman stuff. This is me saying, you know what? I prayed for this man. I prayed for this man. And you know what, God, this man is the man you're giving me. And so I'm going to talk to you about him because nobody knows him better than you. So Lord, talk to him about himself. Like I'm talking about some grown woman prayers like, Lord, wake him up in the middle of, Lord, don't let him sleep at night. Wake him up in the middle of the sleep and reveal to him who he is. You know, so it's that stuff, man. It's that because sometimes we as men get so frustrated with ourselves that we haven't found out who we are yet, that we'll let a woman tell us. Well, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna be transparent here. I don't care. All right. So me personally, any man that is watching this, they may be able to attest to this. So me personally, it's like I know where I'm supposed to be at, and it's frustrating to like see that I'm not there yet.
Okay.
And then it's like somebody, but in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I know where I'm supposed to be because I want her there with me. I know what she's called to do. I keep saying it, like, man, you got this and you got that and you got all these gifts. I actually wrote a song about this like years ago before I even met her. I wrote something like this where I'm like, you got all these gifts in you. You're not just supposed to be a housewife. You got all these gifts. Let's figure out what you're supposed to be doing too. But in the same breath, I'm like, yo, I know where I'm supposed to be at because I had got the word like over 10 years ago. Gerard, this is what's going to happen. I'm like, so how do I get there? And I think for me personally, I'm sorry, Emmanuel the fool, but for me personally, it's frustrating looking at like, man, God, I know what you called me to do. But what's funny is that, I mean, I'm being transparent. God used you to correct some things. Like, hey, you was doing it a certain way. It ain't gonna work this way. You got to do it like this, right? And you said that not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. And I'm like, okay. So basically, for the most part, that my homeboy said with Gerard, it's not just your music, it's more than that. You're supposed to be, I get, and I understood it. It was kind of like, well, how do I go about doing it? And so, like, in reference to you talking about submission, something that a fellow apostle, right, one of your brothers in the faith, he had told me that when a little bit after I joined the church, he said, "You see this man, be submissive to him, submit to him." Right, and he was referencing you, and I was like, okay. And I think the other thing is, in reference to this good segue into everything that we were saying earlier.
Yes, sir.
And in reference to us being accountable, knowing our worth as men, I would argue and say we need to get to a point where we find somebody, as far as a man is concerned, to be accountable to him, because he plays a part in a role model. Because like for a certain point in time, sure, I will argue and say that, yeah, I agree. You may have and learn what you did wrong, correct those things. You can still do that. But even, I would say this, there's even people out there that say, I want to be a millionaire. Okay, well, how do you be a millionaire? You got to like study millionaires or be around millionaires and ask them questions and have them correct you and all these different things. I would say the same thing applies even with far as like men in the faith, is that you actually need to find yourself submitted to a pastor or an apostle or a teacher, whoever they are, as far as like authority is concerned, that God has said, okay, this is the person that I've called to operate in this office, and be submissive unto them. Because I would still argue that they play a part, and I will still tell you things like on your own personally, but this person is still a mouthpiece for you. They're supposed to, they're a parent. It's the reason why they're called spiritual parents, because there's something that they see, and most parents, they're supposed to pull things out of their children, right? They see all these different things out of their kids. They're supposed to pull it. That's
It's hard for men to do that. So, and here's my difference. So like the apostle thing is cool, pastoring is cool. Like, but here's what I learned from our father. Like my father was tangible, right? And I think that a lot of men don't have enough men that can meet them where they are, for always trying to pull them where they're supposed to be. But before I can get you to where you're supposed to be, I got to be able to meet you where you are. And I think that that's especially in the church, like that's the thing. Everything ain't a deacon. Everything ain't a preacher. Everything ain't something. Just let it be a man. And then you got to be able to hear man stuff. Like that's like, I think that my connection with people, or my connection with being able to talk to men, is because I'm able to receive men where they are, because I've been around the way. I didn't been through it by choice. I know what it's like to smoke. I know what it's like to drink. I know what it's like to be bad to women. I know these things. So when I actually get to a man that has these issues, or they have the lack thereof, and they need, first of all, I got to be willing to hear them. I got to be willing to not judge them. I got to be willing not to condemn them. These are all the things that happen in the church when somebody's trying to do something. Like you can't get it. And so a lot of men don't change. A lot of men don't get the mentors and things that they need. It's because I think people find Superman. And men don't desire to have Superman. Men actually need Clark Kent, that has the ability to put on the cape, not to wear the cape at all the time. And so, so if I'm going to have somebody mentor me, or if I'm going to have somebody be a voice in my life, a role model, it's not so much that I have to be familiar with them, but at some space, I have to be okay with them being familiar with me. And that's that's the dynamic, is that I've got to be willing to not be familiar and allow somebody to be familiar with me, in order for me to be able to come out of the places that I'm in. So I think that that's one of the major things when we start talking about, like actually getting that voice, or getting that mentor, or getting that role model, is because here's what I've learned in this season. And I've got one of the greatest voices in the nation over my life right now. I don't care what anybody says. Apostle Ryan Lestrange is one of the greatest voices in the nation right now. And here's what I will not do. I will not become familiar with him. I have a refusal. I don't call him every day. As a matter of fact, I possibly talked to him on the phone literally twice in the last 2 years, But what I do is
Wow.
I've submitted myself to catching everything that I can catch. We text all the time. And so I'm fully submitted, and I'm investing in a way that he can be as familiar with me as he wants. I'll give him all of my stuff. But Marcus McIntyre does not desire to be familiar with him. I desire to honor him. I desire to grab everything that I can possibly get from him. And so for me, that's where I want to be. I want to see young men in this. I want to see young men be able to come to me and be like, say, Pastor, I got a problem with pornography. I want to be approachable. I want people to come to me and say, hey, Pastor, like, Ben, you know, like I really love the ladies, and loving the ladies been my problem. But I really want to build the kind of relationship that I can be where they are to hear that, but then have enough rapport to snatch them out of there, slowly but surely be able to begin to do so. And that happens with being tangible. That happens with, you know, actually being able to hear and love. And anybody will tell you, Emmanuel, any of the guys that know me will be able to tell you, and they'll be able to say, hey, look, man, I told Apostle some stuff that somebody would have thrown me away for. But literally, he walked with me through it to walk me out of it.
Right. I think we need more of that. That's vitally important. There's something that I think about when I hear people say, like, we need men to step up. We need them to do this. We need them to do that. And I think, like, part of that would be, you know what I'm saying, having somebody to help them pull them out of certain things in order for them to step up. So, okay, back to the smoke. Back to the smoke.
Oh, man.
This is actually this is really long. I usually don't go this long. Like, I have gone long.
I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it.
Because I'm asking him to repeat stuff because it kept dropping out. So, but it's gonna be worth listening to on this podcast. Don't turn the podcast off. I'm trying to tell you, this is good stuff. So let me ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
What do we do? Because I've said this before, and I feel as though it would just. I really want to know what you think now.
Okay, yes, sir.
There's things I've said, things I've heard when I hear like sisters say, we need the men to step up. We need the men to step up. We need them to do this. And I'm like, okay, one, we do have men that step up. We do have men that are actually doing what they need to do, false responsibility, or even operating their calling and their purpose. Cute, cool. But my thing is, what about the men that you're wanting to step up? What's going to happen when they step up? Because I asked this question before. I said it on my own live before. I said my question was, is he stepping up to be pleasing unto you? Or is he stepping up to be pleasing unto God, which is going to actually bless you? Which one do you want? So my question is, I told you, all the smoke. So,
oh, Lord.
We hear people say, step up, step up, step up. It's like, okay, when he steps up, what are you going to do? So, like, how does that look, and how, and as far as men is concerned, I guess this is the question I would want to ask. When women are dealing with a man that is actually not like the other men that they're used to dealing with, how does a man? It's a certain way I want to say this. How should a man operate with a woman that's not accustomed to a man basically being the type of man that she needs him to be? Does it make sense what I'm asking?
I hear you, but I don't know what you want me to answer first. I don't know what you want me to answer.
Oh, man. Okay. Let's see.
You asked me about stepping up. I don't know what you want me to answer first. Like, what you want me to
my
answer
bad.
First.
Let's backtrack. Let's back, because she said what now? Let's back, because the question is like loaded.
Yeah. So because you asked me about the first question was about stepping up. Like, women say that men should step up, and you asked the question, well, what would they do when he steps up, right? Yeah. So all right. Okay. All right. So I think that some women want men to step up, but they on the staircase. So, like, I think that there's women that are yelling at men, yo, step up, but they on the step that they want the man to be on.
Oh.
So I really think that this is not in all cases. So I'm going to say in some cases. I want you to hear me. In some cases, women are yelling, man, step up. And literally, if the man will probably have to yell, get out the way. because there are some women that are so independent, so women that never needed a man before, that by the time they really get a man and they want him to step up, what they really doing is they on the step in the way, not even giving the man a chance to step.
So, hold on, repeat that again. Repeat that again, because it froze. Like right when you
there's
got started.
A whole lot of women that are saying, "Man, step up," but they on the step that they want the man to step on.
Right.
So they've been so independent doing stuff they wait for so long. Then all of a sudden they want to be vulnerable, or at that time at a certain place where they don't want to do nothing, they want the man to step up. And there are a lot of strong women that have been strong for themselves for so long, doing it their way, that by the time they really say, "Hey, come on up here," or "step up," they really only want you to step on the step for a minute. And so by the time a man, and I'm not talking about lazy men, I'm talking about a man that's willing to step up. That man will step, he'll take the step, but he can only be on the step for so long before the woman try to push him back. And that's not even order.
Wow.
That's not even right order. Like because here's some truth. If we taking steps together. You get what you so if we stepping, I'm saying if we right stepping. And if we not right stepping, if I'm a man, I'm gonna take the step, grab her hand, and as I'm going, I'll just hey, we going up. Hey, we going up.
Yeah,
we're going up. But then I think that there is the lazy man. There is the whole idea of the lazy man, and the lazy man does need to stop being lazy. I get that. I feel like because we're in a time that if we realize that when a man doesn't step up, a woman will. Yeah. And you can tell that biblically. If we want to be biblically sound, you can tell that biblically when Moses doesn't circumcise the kids he's supposed to. The Bible says that God was going to kill him, and if it was not for his wife doing what she did, he would have died. So I think that there is still a portion of us that when a man is not willing to, women will. And now here is the thing: a good woman will step up but stay beside. A good woman will step up and stay on the side. A good woman will step up and stay on the side. I will say that. I will say that. Stepping up don't mean in front.
No. I'm tracking. I'm just like, I've never heard that.
Yeah. So, a woman who steps up doesn't mean she has to step in front. There's a way to step up and still stay on the side. And the problem is we have progressed in such a way that women who step up automatically feel like they got the pants. So I stepped up, I stepped in front, follow me. I got the job, follow me. I got this, follow me. He ain't got this, follow me. I've been doing this, blah, 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 follow me. Right. But a good woman gonna be able to have whatever bread she got, she gonna make that good bread and still be on the side. A good woman, and I'm just saying, like, and I ain't saying like he lazy or nothing, but I'm saying like these roles that changed and she had to step up. She may be called to a different place in the market. She may be in a different economy bracket, but that has not changed her place.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I think that's the thing that we see a lot, and this goes back into like a man and his worth. Because some men think, well, man, I ain't making as much money as she's making. I'm not a man. Or somebody for some strange odd reason may be in a financial situation, especially with what's going on right now with the coronavirus, where like he can't work, and it's like, man, I'm not a man because I can't this. And you got somebody beating them down, whoever they, you know what I'm saying? Not the person they're in a relationship with, but it could be outside people that's like, man, you know, you're supposed to be this. It's like, bro, I can't control that. So, but and that's how I was saying this. All these guys that you guys are listening to, it is pride. Absolutely, Pastor. It is pride. And so it segues to like our worth. What is our worth? Because
I was laughing at some of the comments. Clark said, "Who teaches them that?" my big bro said, "Who teaches them that?"
Who teaching them now? There was a young lady I used to date. She used to say some weird stuff. I used to be like, "Yo, who taught you that?" Like, so that's why I'm like, who's teaching them this? You know what I mean? So, but I think this is a lot. This is good. This is good, Apostle. This is
And
really good. And I want to keep going, man.
You asked some good questions, man. I feel a certain kind of way about men. So when you ask me to come on, man, like I feel a certain kind of way. I feel a certain way about men. And you know, it's like, again, I feel like that's why I say, man, I have a heart to restore the man, because I know what it's like to be a broken man. And I think that, you know, when men don't know how to discuss being broken, there's a part of me, there's a part of us that we don't want to expose our flaw to another man, and it's an ego thing. It's a pride thing, but it's also a thing because men are so competitive, and you know, and the competitive nature of a man will always stop you from exposing a weakness about you, because normally in competition, when weaknesses are exposed, you know, I take advantage of what you expose to me. And so that's the hard part of men really, you know, coming from brokenness to a blessed place, or even trusting someone to get them there. And to be honest, women heal different than men. And so because women heal different than men, we don't all heal the same. I know this is going to sound crazy, but just as crazy as it sounds, even though man was built with a certain amount of strength, hear me, women were built in such a way, because they're nurturers, right? That a lot of women do self-nurturing and get themselves back where they need to be. And men don't. Men literally normally are waiting for someone to help them heal, or they're waiting for the doctor. They need someone, where women are really, it sucks to say it, but women can be really self-sufficient. And that's the hard part of coming into oneness with someone, or something with someone that has taught themselves to be, you know, self-sufficient.
Say that last part again. You said, and that's the part it cut off.
That's the hard part of becoming one with someone that knows how to be self-sufficient. Notice that when you've been in relationships, there are certain things that we do as men. Let's just look at it from our perspective, that we do as men that we possibly wouldn't recover from. Listen, but we do it to them. Just think about, just really think about that. Really think about how that, and it's a mechanism in there. And here's when you really begin to talk about the value of a woman. That's why we gotta be careful how we treat them. That's why we have to be careful how we treat them. And I firmly believe that, you know, it's men that, you know, especially when you have a woman. So let me go here really quick. Especially when you have a woman that wants the best out of you, and sees you living at a different level than what you're called to. She feels like you're settling in a space, or whatever the case may be. Here's what happens. Check this out. She's hurt by you staying in potential.
Wait, hold on, repeat all of that. Wait a minute. Repeat that again.
This woman is hurt by you dying or staying in potential. Here's what we're called to do as men. When he said be fruitful and multiply, it was not just about children. We limit it to children, but be fruitful and multiply was more than children. Be fruitful and multiply says be a producer, son. I'm not producing anything in potential. Potential is the state of what I could be. So a lot of women has gotten us in the stage of what we could be. A lot of women have gotten us in the stage of what we could be. Yes.
Okay.
Check this out, because imagine this. You have the potential to tour, and I told you to open up for all kinds of R&B artists and still be who you are, the potential. But imagine if you have a studio at home that you never use.
Yeah, exactly.
And your wife comes in and she's looking at the studio equipment not being used.
Yeah.
Guess what else isn't being used?
She's not being used.
You not being used.
I'm not being used. Yeah. Yeah.
So she's hurt at the fact, the level she sees you at, of what you could be doing, you're not doing. You're literally living beneath your potential. Because here's what you can't do. Remember, I told y'all about, we talked about this earlier. You can't give her a vision of a thing and then not go after the vision. So you can't
say that again. Say it again. Say it again.
You can't give her the vision of a thing and then not go after the vision. So your vision is your studio. You invested in it, didn't you? You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So she got to come in to what you invested in. She's looking at it. So I'm looking. So women, they're looking because their job. They're looking at that investment. How can I see that investment go from potential to producing? Best moment ever. Best moment in a movie ever. I don't care what anybody has to say. And people can call me hood if they want to. Best moment in a movie ever. Hustle and Flow. Best moment in a movie ever. I'm gonna show you the best moment.
Yeah.
The best moment is when she bought that lava lamp. I don't care about
the lava lamp.
Yep, I don't care nothing about the whole movie. I don't care nothing else about the whole movie. The best moment is when she bought the lava lamp. You want me to tell you how?
How?
Here's why. Because she saw in the studio of his favorite producer that he watched, she saw that the producer had a lava lamp.
Hold on, wait. Start it over, because as soon as you started, it stopped. I'm like, nah.
She saw him watching music videos. She saw a top producer, right? She saw a top producer with that lava lamp in the studio. So what she does is she takes what little she has. Come on, listen, I'm about to preach. She takes what little that she has, invests it, and goes and gets him what the top has. Now, mind you, his equipment ain't even as great as what's on that video that she saw, but the lava lamp represents, I see in you what you see in yourself. So I'm about to invest in you. So everybody else can watch that whole movie. See, I got something completely different from that whole movie. I saw the lava lamp. She loved him enough to get the lava lamp. Listen, I'm telling you, let me tell you. Men, when y'all come on here and watch this, you gotta get you a lava lamp woman. I'm just trying to tell you. You gotta get you a woman that is willing to
that's good.
You gotta get you a woman that's willing to invest in what you know and the place you're going. And she never got in front. Remember, you never could see her in the studio. She was never in there trying to be in the way. She wasn't trying to wreck his dream or be a part of his dream. She wasn't trying to make a life out of what he was called to. She was trying to get him to what he was called to.
Oh man.
I'm just listen. So that's the problem. And then so a lot of us men don't know how to handle that type of woman. Because that type of woman is also the type of woman that will say, here's the hard part, baby, that ain't good.
I would rather somebody say that, like, tell me your thoughts. What do you think? And I don't like it. Like, but do some give like a healthy critique, like constructive criticism. What can I do to change it? What do you think I can do to fix it?
Well, ask yourself this. Like, now you would want that, but now ask yourself, could your emotions handle it?
What was the question? Say the question again.
Could your emotions handle that?
Ooh. One side of me, I'm being transparent.
We talking. We talking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Vivian, you're right. You say that till it happens. So, like, one side of me is kind of like, I may feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying? I may feel some type of way, but I know at least me, I would prefer somebody behind closed doors to tell me what they think versus me give it to the whole world and then they say X, Y, Z. Yeah, because I think
you wouldn't see, and because that's you're mature. But what happens is an immature man will take the correction. Baby boy, listen, you need to not do that no more. Or you need, or let's bring it into the church. Baby boy, listen, you've been doing whatever you've been doing, but you ain't about to do that with me. So let me tell you about yourself. You ain't about to do that with me. Matter of fact, you need to be at the altar. Matter of fact, get your little deliverance while you're up there, whatever you got going on. Listen, that's what you need to do. Now, guess what? There's some men that can't handle that. Because you know what some men see that as? Some men that don't want to change, they'll make that be disrespectful. See, I'm talking about you being a mature man. You're asking, you saying, I'm a mature man. So you saying, you know what? This is what I would rather have than to live below or to live beneath or to live mediocre or to be investing in something that may not go anywhere. This is what I'd rather have. But there are some people that are built a certain way and they don't want that investment. They don't want that, because here's what we do. From Jump Street, you make an investment as a man. You make an investment into her, and she's going to make an investment into you. And the reason why you're going to do that is because God invested. God invested his breath in the man. God invested, God made an investment. The vision that a man has is an investment from heaven. The revelation on the thing to do of what we're supposed to do, that's an investment from heaven. God expects a return. So you make an investment in her. As a man, you're supposed to make an investment into her. An investment ain't got to be semen. Investment can be seed and not be semen. All right. So that investment.
Preaching.
So that investment will have a return on it, and that return can be something birthed in the earth that is legacy. It doesn't have to be a baby naturally to be birthed in the earth. So again, that's just me. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
No. That's good. That's good. Because that's something I talked about in my book, Why Love. At the end of the day, it's about legacy. But you are right. It's not going to always be in the sense of producing a physical child as well. I should have put that in the book. I don't know if I did, but you're right. I agree. No, but you're right. I'm like, as soon as you said, I'm like, man, he's right. It's not just about a kid, but it's about like what you put out in the earth. Like basically, she plays a part in helping you birth this in a sense. You have this seed, and she helps you cultivate that same thing as well. She helps you and being fruitful and multiplying that thing to where it affects. Wow.
Well, it should be that way, because you can't yell bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and it not be that way. I can't yell bone of my bone, because if we're bone of bone and we are flesh of flesh, that means I can't hurt without you hurting. That means that so it's like the investment is dual. When you make the investment, the return is coming back, but it's not coming back just for her. It's coming back for you. Like, so that's a lot of things that we don't get, that we don't do. And again, man, it took me bumping my head to get here. So this ain't just I'm just, hey, Mac got knowledge, Mac got whatever. No, man, like Mac was a horrible dude. Mac never wanted to see women get done the way that I did women, or I didn't want to be that guy. Like, I was extremely horrible. Like, there are not very men. There's not one woman that exists that I've dated in my life that can ever say that they got what my wife got from me. Because I wasn't that dude. So I literally, the reason why I am the way I am about y'all is my sons, those who are my friends. And what I mean by friend is I have to be able to correct you. So I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of friends that I tell that they're wrong or in their marriage or whatever, friends like that, because, I'm called to something different. But anyway, what I'm saying is like, I was such a dog. I had to learn relationships. Like, a lot of people, like, we talk about evangelism, outreach, all that stuff. Those are my strengths. No, my real strength is relationships. I know I'm like no tomorrow. I can show you biblically. I can show you, just naturally. And so when you talk about a man, I want to build men that actually know how to handle marriage, that know how to handle women, because that's my thing. That's why, if you notice how I am about the women in the church, like, and a lot of people don't know this, but like, I tell the women of our church, like, hey, look, you date somebody, bring them through me. You date a man, let me clear that for you. You date somebody, bring them through my office. Like, I want to know if they for real about you. Like, that's me. Why? Because I know the game. I know the game so well that I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell him. That's right. I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let him know because I care like that. I care like that, and that's just me. Listen. I love the Lord. Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. But listen, ain't nobody's exempt from getting slapped. Amen. All right, keep going. All right, go
ahead. Amen. Praise God. No, Apostle, that's good, fellas, brothers and sisters, y'all. I really hope that you guys picked up a lot of stuff that Apostle McIntyre was putting down. Again, I'm going to be editing the podcast, guys, so you won't have to hear all the pauses and stuff like that. My podcast is called Supposed to Be Different. You can find it on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on Google Podcasts. You can find it on Spotify. There's a couple of different podcasts. So just give me like a little bit. I'm gonna try to edit it today and tomorrow, and I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna tag you in an Apostle, and yeah, yo, this was good. This was good. I think the next time, and I can always record my stuff too. So the next time we do this, because I know Pastor Nicole, she said a part two. She's mentioning a part two. So.
We can definitely do it, man. We'll do a live from my page soon, man.
I'll be asking a bunch of questions.
Look, you got it, man. But listen, I want to tell you publicly, man. I thank you for inviting me on. I don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly that y'all who are around, man. I don't take it lightly for y'all to show me love, to bring me on your public platform to express whatever, man. So again, man, just so I'm not saying nothing in the back room that nobody doesn't know, man. I'm proud of you. I'm extremely thankful for your investment in our church. A lot of people don't even know that you moved from Killeen to be here. And, we were one of those, things that, drew you in, to be here, man. So I'm thankful for your devout work to the kingdom, your diligence to our church, man, and how you love on my family. So, man, I love you, and then I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on your show, man. I appreciate
it. And Apostle, I love you. I appreciate you. Look, man, like from the very first time that Dr. Alexis McClinton posted your video, like it was like 2018. I was like, who? Just like the stuff that you said resonated. So I was like, and then we ended up chopping it up. So it was like, yeah, I'm appreciative. I appreciate the welcoming that I've received, even before I even joined the church, even when I just would visit occasionally. Like it was always welcoming. It was always warm and all. It's appreciative. I really appreciate that. It means a lot, Apostle. It means a lot. But yeah, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off. This was a dope podcast. Oh my God, y'all, we're gonna definitely have to do a part two to this. Definitely. So just real quick. Hey guys, thank you for checking out the podcast. It's Supposed to Be Different podcast. This is episode 33, My Brother's Keeper, featuring Apostle Marcus McIntyre. Thank you guys again, and Apostle. Thank you guys in the comments, preferably on Facebook. I didn't see too many people on YouTube. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for your thoughts. Pastor Nicole, I'm scheming now, because you got stuff to say. So now I want both of y'all on this. So I'm like low key, I think this is important. I think, and I guess you guys let me know. I would like to, if we do a part two, or when we do a part two, I would actually like both of you guys' perspective. Now, the reason why I say that, because we're still talking about in reference to men, but now how does it look when you got a married couple talking about it? You'll be the second married couple, as far as like a podcast is concerned, where I actually talked about stuff like this, and I got both parties' perspective. And I think it's going to be vitally important. It's going to be vitally important. I feel like it's going to like break stuff. It's going to break stuff off for people when I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like both of y'all are going to be talking, because I think for some people they're going to actively see a healthy marriage, right? And they're going to see how it looks to communicate with one another when somebody's asking questions or giving scenarios, and they're just going to see how it looks, and it's going to break things. Yeah. All right. Please, Pastor Nicole, I want you guys both to get on the next one, since she said part two. Please and thank you. Please and thank you.
I'm down with it. She got it, man. I'm with it.
All right, bet. We could probably shoot for next week or whenever you guys got.
Corona got us time.
You know what? What do you guys got planned this Saturday? Y'all got anything planned?
Deliverance.
Oh snap! Nah, yeah, that's rough. You know what? sometime. Let's shoot for sometime next week. Yeah, because that takes a lot. I understand that takes a lot. That pulls a lot out of both of you guys.
Don't worry. You coming to help?
Oh, this Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. Okay, praise God. Amen. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get started fasting and stuff. Praise. You know what? That's why I've been feeling the way I've been feeling. We're gonna chop because I've been feeling some type of way for like the last few days, and I couldn't understand what was going on. I was feeling like I've been attacked, and I was talking to Shalita about I feel like I was being attacked whenever I was singing. I'm like, I felt heavy. I felt all this stuff going on. I'm like, I forgot. Okay, so praise God. I'm gonna be fasting. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. I don't know who gonna go through it, but now I'm mad. Now I'm mad. Now, so I'm feeling fast. Now I'm mad because it clicks. Now, like, oh, that's what the enemy trying to do. Okay,
we got work to do.
I'm here. That got me amped. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off. Apostle, thank you guys that are watching and listening. Thank you, Pastor Nicole. Thank you as well. All my brothers and sisters in the faith. All of my well experienced family. Love y'all. You guys dope. And yeah, peace and God bless. Deuce.